Hello everyone, I am Apurva Patil, student of a first year MBA at PCET's SB Patil Institute of Management, Akudi. Today I am here to explain cost output relationship in short run. So, what is cost output relationship? There are two terminologies in the concept, cost and output. The name itself suggests that there is any relationship between cost and output. So, cost can be defined as a monetary expenses that are incurred by an organization for a specific thing or activity, whereas output can be termed as quantity of a goods or services produced in a given time period by a firm, industry, or a country. The theory of a cost deals with the behavior of a cost in relation to change in output. Now again, in short run cost there are 7 factors: total fixed cost, total variable cost, total cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost, average cost, and marginal cost. Today we are going to discuss about the short run cost. What is cost output relationship in a short run? So now first of all, what do you mean by short run in terms of production? Short means time period is very small. Period of time in which firm can change the output by only change in variable factors. Firm cannot change fixed factors. That means if firm want to increase their output, then firm can only change variable factors like raw materials, labor, and not fixed factors like machinery, land, which are factors of production. If we talk conceptually, in short run, the quantity of at least one input is fixed and the other quantities inputs can be varied, which also can be explained as in the short run. Short run is a period which doesn't permit alterations in the fixed equipment and in the size of an organization. Factors remain same, such as the land, machinery, which are the fixed assets. Expansion in a short run can be explained as, in the short run, the expansion is done by hiring a more labor and increasing a capital. The existing size of a plant building cannot be increased in case of a short run. The first concept is total fixed cost. The name itself suggests that it remains fixed, which cannot be changed. Whatever the units are, that cannot be changed. That means the cost which will not change in spite of a change in the production of a units is what fixed cost is. Example, rents, interest, and salaries. So, what is fixed cost? The amount spent by the firm to amount spent by the firms on the fixed inputs in the short run. So, the fixed costs are those items of expenditure which do not change with the change in a output. Also known as supplementary cost, indirect cost, overhead cost, historical cost, and unavoidable cost. Total fixed cost is the sum of a short-run explicit cost and implicit cost incurred by the entrepreneur. A fixed cost usually includes payment of a rent for a building, interest paid on capital, insurance premium, depreciation and maintenance allowances, administration staff expenses, or property tax, license fees, etc. The next concept is total variable cost. What is variable cost? Amount spent by the firm on the variable inputs. If we see, the fixed cost was the amount spent on fixed inputs, whereas variable cost will be the amount spent by the firm on variable inputs. And this cost which are changed with the change in output means as there is a change in output, there will be change in a variable cost. Variable cost are those costs which changes with the change in outputs. So, variable costs are functions of output. Thus, variable cost is a function of output, where it includes price of a raw material, wages of a labor, fuel and power charges, excise duties, and sales tax. The next concept is total cost. total cost is nothing but the addition of the total fixed cost and total variable cost. Total cost is the total expenditure made on the various items of a cost, such as a rent, interest, wages, etc., to produce a given level of output, where the rent and interest is a fixed cost and wages is a variable cost. Total cost of the firm is the sum of its total fixed cost and total variable cost. It should be noted that total cost curve will not start from the origin. Why? Because even if the production is a zero, then also there is a fixed cost for the firm. Thus, the total cost starts from the origin of the total fixed cost curve. Total cost involves the sum of a total fixed cost and the total variable cost. The next concept is average fixed cost curve. It refers to the per unit fixed cost of a production. Average fixed costs are the fixed cost per unit of output produced. In other words, we can say that average fixed cost is a total fixed cost divided by the number of units produced. Now, in diagram, we can see that the average fixed curve is slopes toward the downwards to the x-axis. It shows that the output, as the output increases, the total fixed cost gets spread over to more and more units. Therefore, average fixed cost becomes less and less. It should be noted that the average fixed cost curve slopes downwards toward the x-axis because average fixed cost curve cannot be zero. Howsoever large the level of output may be. Likewise, this curve will not touch the y-axis. Also, because total fixed cost is a positive value at a zero output, any positive value added by a zero will provide infinite value. Thus, the shape of a AFC curve is a rectangular hyperbola. The next concept is average variable cost. Average variable cost is a variable cost per unit of a output produced. Average variable cost is a total variable cost divided by the number of units produced, where TVC stands for the total variable cost. From this diagram, it will be seen that the AVC curve declines in the beginning up to the point and then starts rising sharply after this point. This is because in the beginning the output is below the normal capacity of the firm. As the output increases and it reaches the normal capacity, the average variable cost declines till the point where it is the lowest. But when the output increases beyond the normal capacity, the average variable cost shows a sharp rise and goes on increasing with every increase in output. Average variable cost curve is generally U-shaped. The next point we are covering is average cost, which is also referred as average total cost. Average total cost or average cost is the total cost divided by the total output produced. It should be noted that the behavior of the average total cost depends upon the behavior of average fixed cost and average variable cost. The curve of average cost is always on the top of both average fixed cost and average variable cost curves because it is the total of average fixed cost and average variable cost, and it is almost U-shaped. The next point is the marginal cost. What is marginal cost? Marginal cost is the addition to the total cost incurred by producing an additional unit of output produced. Thus, the marginal cost is the cost of producing one extra unit of output. Marginal cost can also be calculated by dividing the change in the total cost by the 1 unit change in output produced. What are the reasons for U-shape of a short-run average cost curves? Average cost curve are the sum of average fixed cost and average variable cost. As the output increases, total fixed cost remains fixed, thus average fixed cost declines. Thus, as the average cost equals to average fixed cost plus average variable cost, Average cost also declines as the output increases. Average variable cost increases steeply after reaching minimum, and these increases in average variable cost is more than fall in average fall cost. After that, average cost starts rising as the output increases. Thus, you can say that average cost curve is a U-shaped curve. The next one is the relationship between the marginal cost and average cost. The relationship between average cost and marginal cost is discussed as follows. When a marginal cost falls, average cost also falls. The rate of a fall in marginal cost is more than the average cost as it is distributed over entire output. Thus, average cost decreases at the lower rate than marginal cost. When marginal cost increases, average cost also increases, but at the lower rate. Marginal cost intersects average cost at its minimum as when average cost falls. Marginal cost begins to rise, thus average cost minus marginal cost at the point of intersection. Thank you.